Excited to be here.
This is fun. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Good stuff. Hi, folks. I'm Dr. Kat Schreier, Water Show, at WaterCitizen Media Foundation. And we are very excited to be here with Kevin Shafer, the current board chair of the U.S. Water Alliance here at the One Water Summit in Atlanta. So, Kevin, tell us something about, tell us the history of U.S. Water Alliance and how you got. We'll have a conversation on this, but let's start out with where it started. Yeah.
Well, it really started with some folks out on a fishing boat, if you want to know the truth.
Of course, water.
Yeah, that's right. So Dick Champion from Independence, Missouri, and Ken Kirk were out fishing, and they were talking about how there's still these silos in water.
Yeah.
And we really needed to fill the void. There needed to be an organization or an association that would come in and just fill that void that was still there.
Right.
So,
now, Ken was head of the National Association of Clean Water Agencies.
Right.
So, we should also mention your other hat.
Yeah, so I was.
You're also head of.
I'm also I'm board chair of U.S. Water Alliance, and then I'm also the board chair of the Water, Environment, and Reuse Research Foundation.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I'm
a past board member of NACWA, and I'm a past president of NACWA.
And your day job is?
Yeah, that's a good question. What is my day job? My day job is the executive director of the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay. So Milwaukee, they know a little about water.
Oh yeah.
Of all sorts, brewed and yeast and infused.
And we like the 12-ounce cans that have alcohol in them.
Very nice. Very nice. So anyway, so of course you'd worked a lot with Ken, and then what was Dick doing?
So at that time?
Yeah.
So Dick was a past president of NACWA as well. He was still on the NACWA board. And
so was he, you said Independence, Missouri?
Independence, Missouri. He runs the sewage district there.
Sewage district, okay.
So they were out on a boat, they were fishing, and decided they needed to try to form an association like this. Mm. And so the Clean Water Alliance was formed, and then we changed the name to U.S. Water Alliance.
Okay.
But it was formed around 2008, and really bringing together some of the great minds on water. And it wasn't just wastewater, it wasn't just drinking water, it was stormwater, groundwater, all these things. And they also decided that it needed to be a bigger voice. And so we needed to bring in some of the environmental community. We needed to bring regulators. We needed to bring elected officials. So it was formed, and they hired Ben Grumples to be the first, at that time, executive director.
So he had just finished his role then. He was at EPA, head of Office of Water, right?
Right. He was head of EPA's Office of Water. He'd gone to Arizona to be a head of their
that's right. This was after.
And then after that.
Because probably my last engineering type job was, or contract for WaterCitizen Consulting was with City of Phoenix for their aquifer storage as part of their master planning and everything. And we crossed paths. I finished out there right when he was heading out to head up the agency out there. So you got him back.
Yep, we got him back. And Ben really epitomizes the Alliance. That passion, that knowledge, that desire to really do something special. And so just a great person as that first executive director. And then he went on to Maryland at where he is now.
Right.
And Tracy Meehan came in as executive director, who was also with EPA. And he was executive director probably for a year and a half or so. Mm. And then he got a job with AWWA. It's a small world. We all just...
Very incestuous. So for those of you who are new to the water world, it is very incestuous. Be nice to everyone, because chances are you will work with them, you will work for them, they will work for you, or you will want them to work for you. Be nice to everybody. It is a small community.
And everyone in the water world is nice, right?
Well, that's true.
So
at all times.
Oh yeah. So Tracy went over to AWWA, and that's when we started the search, and we hired Radhika, and that was about a year and a half ago.
Right. Now Radhika had been doing some very interesting things, was an important member of
many
of the Alliance.
Yeah. And so she came from the San Francisco PUC Public Utility Commission.
Right. And Harlan Kelly has been really active in so many of these sort of very progressive initiatives within the water world. I guess there have been a lot of collaborative things that were individual organizations coming together to work on a particular project, like the thing that, we did a story on it, the whole with the economic value of water projects.
Yep,
so he was one of those folks spearheading.
Right.
So he was already spearheading a lot of the multi-association efforts.
Yeah, and what Harlan has done a really good job at is connecting the neighborhoods and the people to water and water issues. And it was really that value of water that you talked about that is how Radhika got involved, because she was working with the value of water, and then we hired her for the U.S. Water Alliance CEO. She's now
That's
CEO.
right, because that was a separate organization. Now, is that still? They still have the email that says valuewater.org,
yeah.
right? And that was the major water associations. So you had WEF and AWWA, which are the big ones,
Right.
and then you have NACWA and AMWA are the ones representing the largest. So American Metropolitan Water Agencies is the largest city agencies on the drinking water side, and NACWA is on the wastewater, clean water, reclaimed water, whatever you want to call it these days, resource enriched water.
And value of water really brings some of the large corporations into play.
Right,
well. So
that was really another thing that was really unique, is that you had Jim Hale, Brown Caldwell.
So it was that was formed. Radhika was running that. We hired her to run the U.S. Water Alliance, and we she manages both now, and so they're both
so they are still two standing organizations.
But I think at some point we're going to see, because the missions are the same, we're just going to see that mesh together. And the board for the alliance is made up of both sides, both the alliance and the value of water.
Now, how much? So I mean,
because we have a phenomenal board. I've only had 2 board meetings with the new board. That's just
all right. So tell us the story of what happened to the board, because this is interesting.
Okay, so we started the alliance in 2008, as I said before, and it was going along, and doing some really great things. We had some dialogues around the country talking about what we need to do to improve for water quality, and we got to a point where it just seemed like, we weren't connecting the dots still, and a lot of it we thought might be because the board was like 34 people, very large, very.
It's if you've ever done association management, it's most of your time. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we kind of hesitated to become a nonprofit. Is like, oh my God, I don't want to deal with is babysitting a board.
And so last fall we had a strategic planning meeting. We decided that we needed to reduce the size of the board. So in January we met as a board and we dissolved ourselves, which is an interesting thing, except for 4 members, which was Dick Champion, who was the president of the board at that time, Howard Newkrug, Michelle Pla, Howard from Philadelphia, Michelle from California, and Radhika was still CEO.
Right.
And so for about a 2-3 month period, it was run by those 3 people as we were trying to get applications for the new board. So if you were on the old board, which I was, and you wanted to be on the new board, you put in an application, which I did.
Now, is it structured to have designated seats that they want to have one person do this?
No, and that's something we tried to avoid. We didn't want to say this is the Milwaukee
I'm the
seat.
ag representative. Right. I'm the Western representative of
We want to have we want to have agriculture, we want to have utilities, we want to have environmental groups, but it's not the Milwaukee seat or something like that. So
are there industrial folks as well, or is it pretty much more
on the board? Xylem's on the board.
Well, so that's kind of more corporate people who do water related stuff, but it's not like industrial uses. It's not oil and gas. It's not manufacturing. It's not
that's coming to mind, but there might be. I won't swear to it.
Yeah. I mean, because that, and I had done in my prior life with Golder, a lot of my time was also spent outside the water resource sector doing water for oil sands or for landfills or for, I mean, that's just a very different way of thinking about when people are not planning to drink that water.
Right.
But it is still obviously a big part of water use.
So the board, we put in applications through February, I think it was. In March, they went through a selection process. We had a number set at 15 that we had to get to. I was very fortunate to be selected to be on the new board. And then I was asked to be the board chair. And so we met in April. And with our
because you brought the beer.
Yeah. I'm not sure why I was selected. It may have been about the beer. I don't know.
They figured nice, calm, quiet. He's
Yeah,
quiet. He won't say
He
anything.
won't do
Yeah.
anything. He'll just sit there and drink his beer. Yeah. No, it was quite an honor. So they in April asked me to be the board chair, and Michael Carlin from San Francisco is the vice chair.
Nice.
And so we've got an executive committee, we've got subcommittees, we've got a financial committee, and Roddick is just phenomenal. You know, she's just a spark plug that's really moved things forward.
Yeah, she's got a lot of great ideas
Yep,
and executes very well.
Yeah.
And she's building that team.
Right.
How many people does she have on board now?
You know, I don't know exactly, but I think there's probably 6.
Yeah, and she's based out in San Francisco now.
She's based in San Francisco.
She's still stayed there. There's still the office in DC. Are they still in the same building as Naqua?
They are.
Used to be in the basement.
Yep,
Yeah, so they're still in the basement
so,
now.
They've got a deputy under Roddick named Emily Feinstein.
Is she here?
Feinstra, yeah.
Okay, I haven't met her.
I don't see her.
Okay,
And
Yes.
Emily is stationed in DC.
right. And then Abigail is up in Philly. Or,
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know
Okay.
where she is actually
yeah, so
stationed.
she
Yeah.
does a lot of
Yep.
work on the communications
Which
side.
kind of says a lot about, because we're kind of
Right.
all over. You know, it's not like we're just in DC or we're just in Chicago or we're just in San
Right.
Francisco.
Well, and you know, a lot of what we try to do is you know, we keep things, use a lot of new media, and that doesn't mean that we can't do things live and in person, but that means that we are mobile and
Right.
able to be distributed and
Right.
point of use, point of source.
Right.
People live where they want to live, and but bringing the ideas and the information together.
So we've had 2 board meetings since I've been board chair. We had one 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And going into the meeting 2 days ago, I thought it was going to be about a 45-minute meeting. But we had such a phenomenal discussion. I mean, phenomenal discussion.
This
It
was
like
the
an
one.
hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It was
This is the
great.
one that all the other sessions broke up, and you guys were still in.
Yeah,
there.
and then they pulled us out and said, you got to go to these other things. We're like, oh, I adjourned
Do
this
we have
meeting.
to?
Yeah, so it was.
Well, that's good. I mean,
It really
because it's
is.
not all right. So basically, the mission, it's not just about being another water organization or being another advocate. I mean, how much advocacy do you guys do?
You know, not a whole lot. I think
Right.
most of our advocacy would be done by some of these other associations that have been
Right.
doing it for years. They're good at it. Let them
Right.
do it.
Right.
Let's build off their strengths. You know, let's not try to replicate something that's already there, and let's really try to connect the dots.
Now, one of the things that's different this year from last year and the last couple of years is one of the things that the Alliance does is this U.S. Water Prize, and that's a big deal.
That's
So
right.
we'll talk about it in a second. But that it had in past years occurred during Water Week, which is another one of these. We're all separate, but we're going to do things together, collaboration kind of.
Yeah.
We all have our separate identities. Yes,
Right.
we are all individuals, but yeah. I mean, it is very important that each of several major water organizations have decided to do their fly-ins to DC at the same time.
Yep.
And in the past, that was the week that the U.S. Water Prize
That's exactly right.
was awarded.
Right.
This year, that didn't happen. Why?
No, this year we decided that we wanted to capture the energy of the Water Prize and bring it along with the energy of this conference, this summit that we have. And so we did the Water Prize this week, and it was phenomenal. This is just a beautiful
was.
room, a beautiful evening.
Oh, well,
Great
tell them where it was.
recipients.
And we're going to do a tour here, a behind-the-scenes tour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
in the aquarium here in Georgia,
Yes.
in Atlanta. And
In fact, I have a great picture of the reception, and there's like this giant shark in the tank swimming by as everyone's just kind of chatting about water.
I thought it was a video at first. I'm standing in this room and I look through the door. I go, wow, that's a pretty big
That's-
screen. And then I look like, oh, that's a real fish.
That's a real big fish.
Big
yeah.
fish,
And
yeah.
if you actually went out there, you'd see that there were people in the tank.
Yeah, I did see him come out.
In fact, we had a chance. It was really funny. I was at Capitol Hill Ocean Week up in DC right before this,
Mhm.
and I was standing at one of the exhibits, and the guy next to me was, I'm at the Georgia Aquarium. I was like, "You're kidding? I'm going to be down there tomorrow."
Yeah.
We went out and did an interview. Turns out he's John is the head of customer experience and development. And he also brought out the education director. We have an interview with the two of them, and they talked about the fact they do like veteran immersion program,
Oh.
where they get vets out so that who have loss of limbs
Right.
or PTSD or something,
Disabilities
and
of
it
some
just
sort, yeah.
really helps revigorate their confidence. We need to do stuff like that in Milwaukee. We're going to be in
There you go.
Milwaukee tomorrow. I fly to Milwaukee. Is it Friday? Yeah.
Today's Friday.
If it's If I'm wearing purple,
Yeah.
okay. So today's Friday. Tomorrow I'll be in Milwaukee.
I'll be there tonight.
What are the best things? So one of the things we were actually just talking about doing this here in Atlanta. We want to do citizen tours. It's the kind of thing you can pull it up on your phone. You see a map. You say, "Oh, I'm going to be over here." And there's a really cool water site here. You click on the map and pulls up a video, and then somebody talking to you about, hey, this is where we're doing the green infrastructure project, or this is whatever.
Yeah, we're not that sophisticated yet, but we got some really cool things to see.
Well, you show me some cool things to see, and get me someone out there, and we'll do a quick little video. I'll put the whole thing together.
No, that's fine. Yeah,
right.
We've got the School of Freshwater Sciences, which is right on Lake. I mean, all you'd have to do really is just go out and look at Lake Michigan. It's phenomenal. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But School of Freshwater Sciences from the University of Wisconsin system is right there. We've got the Global Water Center, which is the Water Council's hub building. So much development occurring around there, incorporating green infrastructure and it's actually water businesses that are moving into that area.
Right.
And then, we're seeing a total revitalization of our waterways. We're seeing much cleaner rivers. We've built a deep tunnel system in Milwaukee. So our overflows, which used to be 50 to 60 times a year, we haven't had one for about 15 months now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're treating, since the tunnel came online in 1993, we've treated 98.3% of all the water that's come to it. So we still have CSOs. We're working on
combined sewer overflows.
Combined sewer overflows. I've set a goal for 0. We're not going to have those anymore.
Yeah.
And we're going to work on green infrastructure. We're going to work on efficient use of energy, and we're converting to landfill gas as an energy source to get off of carbon-based fuel sources. So climate change is an important issue for us. We're dealing with it. We're going to try to be ahead of it. And we can give you a tour. We can take you out and see some rain barrels, some forest pavement, rain gardens,
and all the stuff that like everyday citizens can have access to.
Oh, sure.
Because this has got to be like, okay, you just finished your meeting, you got a couple of hours to kill, you want to get outside of the hotel.
Yep.
Where can you go and see cool water stuff?
But you're going to see behind the scenes at the aquarium. Don't you want to see the behind the scenes at the tunnel?
We could do that too. Yes, and I'll be there.
Everyone wants to go in a deep tunnel.
I have a plane ticket into Milwaukee. I have not yet bought a plane ticket out of Milwaukee because I don't know if I'm going to go to Austin or if I'm going to stay and then go to Chicago.
Okay.
For ACE.
Yep.
I'll see you there. Speaking of ACE, actually, I guess it was at WEFTEC. Tell us about the beer. Tell us about
You're really fixated
activated
on that beer.
Well, no, I'm
activated sludge.
We actually, I don't know if you know this, we were the first to interview from the water world to interview the activated sludge guy.
Thera?
Yeah, and Thera, and as well as we had already been talking with the folks out in Portland, and we put the two of them together and said, you guys have to do a face-off.
I did not realize that.
That is where that was me. Thank you very much. That's where that came from. I was like, we got to find something because there. I mean, okay, so the one out of Portland that was officially out of the water utility. Right. That was Renew, or is it Renew? Yeah. Anyway, that was out of their
Clean Water Services.
Yeah, Clean Water Services. And then, but there is just a guy who happens to work for an agency that will remain nameless, who had both a water and wastewater engineering background.
Yep.
And really, you have to do both to make beer out of wastewater because you have to take the wastewater and treat it to a drinkable level.
It's all one water.
And then, it's a very special water because if you want to make beer, you have to replicate the profile of where you want it from. So if you want a Pilsner, you have to make German type water, and their water quality. If you want to do, British beers, I mean, you have to replicate their water profile. So he was able to create the water that he wanted for that beer. Very interesting stuff.
So we're a public utility, and about 2 years ago, we had someone come and say, "We want 50 gallons of your effluent," and we're like, "Why would you want our effluent?" And so I know Thera, and I said, it's a public records request. We will provide you our water. So we gave him 50 gallons of water. He came and picked it up. And instead of having a man cave in his basement, he has a beer cave.
Nice.
And I've been to his house, and he distills the effluent down to pure water. And he actually puts minerals back in the water to give it a natural water taste.
I should go get this on camera.
Yeah, and then
I should call Vera. Yes.
Yeah, and then he brews different types of beers, and it's phenomenal. I mean, it's really good beer. So we did that for like a year or so, and then I didn't know you were behind the Clean Water Services thing, but a year ago, Diane Taniguchi-Dennis and I were at a meeting, and she comes up to me and she goes, "We need to have a smackdown." So she pulls out her phone, and we do this little video right there in a hotel.
Nice. And, see, we got the phone, we got the light from the phone here, and we're being, this is actually just a laptop sitting on the table.
Yeah. So we started it there, and I connected them with Dira. And they have this phenomenal communications department that we decided to do this video. Go on YouTube and search Milwaukee Smackdown or
Smackdown. You can look it up on WaterCitizenNews.com.
There you go.
And you get the whole background of the story and get the little slideshow from Vera. And nice.
But that would be a good tour. So we had this great event at WEFTEC last year, and we thought, there might be 50 people. There must have been 300 people. They were giving away beer for 2 hours.
I could have told you that. Yeah, that beer and sex. That'll attract a lot of people. Free beer and sex.
There you go.
So,
And then I'm walking around WEFTEC after that, and I see people, and they're going, "Hey, beer guy." And I'm thinking, I should work at Miller Park. I should serve beer. They like me more.
I used to live in Golden, Colorado, right down the street from the second largest brewery in Golden.
Yeah, of course.
Well, no, Coors is the largest.
Oh, okay.
There's another one, and their sign actually says the second largest brewery.
Oh, okay.
But actually, we also did some additional interviews. You should check out the article because we did some interviews with homebrewers, and they totally get this. I mean, they are going to be some of your biggest advocates. Right. Because they have to figure out how to treat water and wastewater to get it to what they want. And as well as Tom Eisman from Department of Interior, Assistant Secretary of Water and Science, and he's like, I'll drink some beer out of wastewater, bring it on. So you have some customers waiting for you in DC.
And Thera did this just out of his own passion. Yeah. He understood that clean water, wastewater, river water, it's all the same water.
Right.
And that people need to understand that glass of water they may be drinking right now has probably been drunk by someone else before. And so this whole message of using wastewater effluent to make beer really drives home that message. I mean, it's a great educational piece. And,
well, and it's really, kind of captures what we're talking about here in terms of one water. Beer is probably one of the best, beer and sex, probably the best ways to convey this one water message.
Yeah. So it's, I have more people ask me about our beer, which we really didn't have much to do with, as they do about my deep tunnel or my green infrastructure, or all this other great stuff we're doing. So, it's pretty cool.
Very cool. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time.
No
and thank you. And if you're watching this anywhere other than thewatershow.org, go on over to thewatershow.org and you'll be able to see the downloads and other videos from our sponsors, as well as a place that you can type in your questions and comments. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll if you have any questions for Kevin, we'll pass them along and make sure that he responds. So thanks.
Bye-bye.